What is going on, guys? Welcome back to the Boardroom podcast, where we help you stay calm, change lives, and have business on your terms. Now, I think one of the things that is top of mind for me for today is like, how do you, when your business is stagnant or declining, how do you get momentum built back up, right? Like, how do you get things going again? And because we've seen it, like we're doing it for ourselves. And then we've also seen, like, I think at this point, like 3 blue chip clients really turn that around as well and really start to see like just absolutely phenomenal results to the point where I think every single one of our blue chip accounts are getting fantastic results. Now, for those of you who are listening, we rarely ever talk about blue chip. Blue chip is like our, one of our companies. It's a done for you acquisition system, a company where we partner with businesses and we'll do their acquisition, build out end to end, lead gen, all those things. And we'll recommend like different plays and things like that. It's extremely hands-on, and the bandwidth for that is just not very big. It's not one of those, agencies or companies that can have hundreds upon hundreds of clients. It's like 8 to 12 is like the sweet spot. All right. Which is why we don't talk about it, but we take a lot of the things that we're learning from what we're doing inside of Blue Chip, and we'll try and share with here on this podcast and with people using Charlie to help them see results with their lead gen and things like that. But when your business is declining as far as like enrollments, like getting new signups, getting leads, like what are the things that you need to be doing to like violently start to get traction again? How we've done that's kind of like, it depends, right? It really depends. So I'm just trying to think like, for one account, like they had to go all in on one niche, right? And they kind of had to change the niche. So, when we look at the marketing, they were kind of like splitting, trying to target 2 different avatars at the same time. And so what kind of went into helping them decide like, hey, you need to pick one, right? Like you're trying to chase 2 different rabbits and you're not catching any of them. Right. And then they went all in on one, and you just had like 16 sales in the last week.
In the last week, 16 sales in the last week. Got rid of all her DM stuff. That usually means she's going to get rid of her whole DM team, right? So overhead just about to drop. She's all in, but we had to make that specific turn in her marketing and her messaging to really go all in and attract the right person, because she was trying to do plant-based and then she was trying to add menopause into it, right? So she's trying to talk to these, right? If I had to choose, I'm going all in on the menopause route, right? Than the plant-based route. Obviously, menopause is way bigger of a market and is very, very high pain, where plant-based...
Yeah, the plant-based is a big market too. In fact, plant-based would actually I would say it's probably bigger because you have more. It's bigger because you have more products, more plant-based products. You have supplement lines targeting that. You've got fitness programs. You've got entire like diets around that. So plant-based is a more competitive market, right? They're big supplement brands fighting for those eyeballs. Whereas like menopause, it's high pain. It's more niche, but it's a growing market because you have people aging into it daily, right? So it's high pain. It's not as competitive. It's growing, right? And so you have the best of kind of like both worlds. Like you have one of my favorite analogies that I heard from maybe it might have been Russell Brunson, but it's like, what's the best competitive advantage you can get, right? Find a hungry market. If you're selling hot dogs, like, and you have a hot dog stand, what's your biggest competitive advantage? Like, find a hungry market. Go to a football game, wait until the game ends and people are either drunk and hungry, and you're going to sell a lot of hot dogs, and it don't have to be that good. Right. And that's kind of how I view the menopause market, where it's like they're in high pain and they want to get out of it. And there's not a lot of solutions that work for them because each person's experiences it so radically different. So they need a tailored approach. And there's not a lot of people trying to work with them because one, I don't know if you've engaged with a woman has gone through menopause. It's like the emotional volatility is ridiculous, right? So you need to be a special human being to be able to like actually service them at a high level. And then two, they have a high urgency, right? So they're in a lot of pain. They have a high amount of urgency and they're extremely problem aware. So they're looking for a specific solution for that. So the fact that you can, the fact that they have the ability and the expertise to service those women is like, get out of like, yeah, you can make it work in the plant-based. And she's made a lot of money in the plant-based, but it's so competitive, right? It's a very competitive place and people it's commoditized, right? So it's like, there's a lot of cheap diet plans and workout programs and influencers that have cheap programs that they're selling to people that are plant-based. So it's hard to justify premium prices for a plant-based offer when you have thousands upon thousands of solutions that are just cheap, right?
Yeah, well, not only that, but you also got to force somebody to be either plant-based because you're telling them like, hey, this is better. This is the way you should eat. So you're kind of like, you're telling them you have to do it this way. You have to do it this way. Whereas a menopause, like, yo, I'm fucking dealing with menopause. Can you give me something to fix my shit? It's a lot easier to get in front of a menopause person than you forcing somebody that's eating meat forever. And you're telling them to radically change their life and their eating habits and everything just so you can say your plant-based is better. So you got to work harder. But the benefit of this person or this client was she was already talking to that menopause market, right? In an indirect way, she's already talking to that demographic of a woman, that age group of a woman. So instead of you forcing your plant-based on them, you could just talk directly to them.
Yeah. And then essentially show them, like, instead of you give them what they need, you market to them what they want and you give them what they need on the sales call, right? So you market what they want, give them what they need. And then like on that sales call, you show them like, if you really want to eliminate your symptoms and get them under control, I highly recommend plant-based.
Right. Not only that, but I digged a little deeper with her and I told her, look, hey, are you really like all plant-based? Like, is every single client in your program, or do you only like is every single client in your program plant-based? She goes, no. Do you only let plant-based people in? She goes, no. Thank you. You just answered everything I need to know. Get rid of the plant-based stuff on the front end. Go all in on your menopause because your program is not all plant-based. You do have people that still eat meat, do all this stuff and everything. You just recommend plant-based on the back end, which you can do. Get them in first. Then you can tell them other stuff like plant-based and everything, but don't lead with it on the front end.
Yep. You want to polarize, but it's an unnecessarily turning away people who were good candidates for their program, right? So it's like, if you're polarizing, you want to do it with intention, right? If I want to polarize and be like, if you're whatever, right? If you're eating meat and you're not vegan, like if I'm vegan, then I want to polarize and I want to turn anyone off who's not vegan or who's not even considering becoming vegan and focus on attracting those who already are, right? That's good polarization. But bad polarization is like you're taking a stance, but your current client base doesn't even match that stance, right? So you're turning away good business.
Yeah, because when she would talk about plant-based, she was sprinkling the menopause, whatever. So if somebody's heard menopause, oh yeah, okay. And then you lost them because they're like, oh, I don't want to do plant-based. Never mind. And then they just get off. Then you just lost a candidate for potential great lead or a sale off it. So yeah, went all in on the menopause market.
They don't know that they don't want to do plant-based yet, right?
Exactly.
They'll probably be open to it, but they just have no idea that they are ready to do it quite yet.
Exactly. Yeah. So made the shift, and numbers speak for itself. Created a whole nother pixel for it, and loaded up with all her purchase people because technically, yeah, they might be plant-based, but they're women that are menopausal. Facebook doesn't know that, hey, this person
Facebook
only
doesn't
does
care. No
plant-based.
longer, it's just going to find people who are going to buy. So for that one, that was like one shift, radical change within a week. And then there'll be other shifts that require more effort, right? So like for us, we throttled back acquisition for a couple months, you know, and now looking back on it, if I was going to go back and change behavior, I probably wouldn't have throttled it back. I would have just been like, screw it, keep pedal to the metal. And it challenged because when I look back on like 2023, right, product was awful.
Dog shit,
Like,
to say the least.
like awful. Like looking, like thinking, oh, like,
I
like
look back at some of that stuff as like, ugh.
how
yeah,
did we sign anyone up to use it? I'm like, which is good, you know, like looking back, I'm like, man, it's compared to where it's at now. Like that was just like a steaming pile of shit. But we continue to grow. Yeah, it was a bit of a revolving door, which just like you never want, but we continue to go through that. Whereas like I'm looking at how I'm looking at like some of the things that we're working on product wise. If I'm going to redo that, would have just kept pushing acquisition, but then be very transparent about some of the features that were in the middle of upgrading and let them know coming in like, hey, we're going to give you a discounted rate because you're going to get the best results with this feature. But right now we need to fix and roll out the update that's going to make this feature even better. So we recommend doing it like this. But since you're going to be started with this, we're going to give you a discounted rate, get you in so you feel good about not having this functionality. You're still going to get good results. It's just not going to be at this level. And then when this is done and ready to roll out, we're going to keep you at this rate, but now you also get this awesome feature that's going to be way better, 10 out of 10. But now you get at a discounted rate because you're willing to get started while the team was getting that done. Right. That's what I would have done. Like looking back, and I've been reflecting, I was like, that's what I would have done differently. And now like moving forward, if we ever, because it's not going to be the last time we have to do a structural enhancement to make things better. Right. So we can't just slow down marketing and enrollment because we're enhancing different parts of the product.
It's always going to happen like that. So what are you going to go 3 months and then, hey, stop marketing. And then you off for like weeks or a month and then you go for 3 months. You're always going to do that if that's the case, because product is never going to be perfect. Something's always going to happen. We're always going to be evolving, putting new things in place. So it's
and
never.
we should look back and be like, I want to look back in 2026 and look at the product in 2025 and be like,
yeah, we're going to think the same thing.
It means they're growing. And
because the standard is so much higher at that time.
So that's like the thing, like that's a mistake that I would definitely say I made as far as that goes, is instead of, we should have pivoted and discounted the flagship, letting people know, hey, these are the things that we need to work on. And then now they have a real inherent benefit of starting, because now when these new enhancements roll out, they continue to get that flagship at a discounted rate because of that. So that's one. But the thing that I notice when it comes to getting momentum going is you gotta increase sales activity and marketing activity, right? You have to promote more. You need to be promoting your stuff. And if you find stuff that's working, do more of the things that are working. How many times have people shut something off that was working because they weren't paying attention to their numbers?
All the time.
So it's like, do more of the things that are working. And then once it's dialed in, don't stop doing that.
Yeah, because what happens is it's dialed in. They think they could put the foot off the gas, and then they'll start trying all this other stuff. It's like, dude, you're humming here. If you want to spend like 10%, you can do 10% of like your budget or 10% of your effort and start building this other thing out to maybe go along with this other thing, then yeah, by all means do that. But a lot of people go here and then they just go, and they just neglect what the thing that is working or the thing that got them there. And they go, oh, and then they go, oh, I'm freaking out. I don't know what's going on. It's like, well, dude, you just like got rid of this thing that was been working. Right. And then
Now,
you got
what
this
else did
shiny
you
object.
expect?
Yeah, exactly. What else did you expect? You think both of them were just going to run all perfectly? It's not how stuff works yet.
Yeah, so that's like the main thing. If for those of you guys who are listening, you've got your marketing, you're generating leads, you're making sales, and you're servicing clients. Even if you start to reach capacity with your service, I'm like, keep the marketing engine going. Like, build a wait list, keep the marketing engine going, because as soon as that's unlocked, what you don't want to have happen is you stop your marketing engine, enrollments dry up, right? And then you get capacity on the back end, but then you start losing accounts as they start to graduate from the program and things like that. So it's like, it's better to keep constantly promoting daily and build a wait list. If you hit capacity, like you legitimately can't take on any more accounts, like continue marketing and letting people know about what you do. But instead of taking on enrollments, you build a wait list and you market to that wait list of people about like what you're doing, the results that your clients are getting, things like that, to stay top of mind. And as soon as enrollment is ready to open again, you let them know enrollment's open, and then you turn the faucet on, right? So instead of like turning the entire thing off, right, you turn the faucet of marketing and you keep that on so it's flowing. But then all you do is you just reroute that traffic into a wait list, right? And then you start promoting, nurturing that wait list and staying relevant. And then when you're ready to turn the faucet of enrollment back on, you already have a bunch of anticipation. You have a lot of pressure already at this stopgap where you're like, okay, I'm ready to open it up. Enrollment floods through, you close it back up, but you keep this engine going that's driving more people to that wait list.
Or another thing you could do is fix whatever is not letting you enrollment faster. I get it. It's a little different for us because we're in the SaaS world, the tech space. Tech takes time. I have to kind of like, you always tell me like, yo, like I get you want to move quicker.
Man, it doesn't happen fast enough for me. I want it to happen like yesterday, but it's like,
yeah, but it takes time for the dev team to build. There's a lot of coding and everything. So I get that. So in terms of our space, but a perfect example was one of our blue chip clients. Enrollment was pumping. It's still pumping. It's pumping. He needs to get another coach. He needs to get a sales rep. And he's like, hey, I'm going to turn down the ads, dude. I can't. He's like, I told him, don't fucking touch those ads. You need to hurry up and go grab a sales rep and you can go hurry up and get a coach. Either you block out some time in your calendar, get it done, because you can get that done like in a week, right? Whereas us, it takes weeks, potential months to do that. And he's like, fuck, dude, I'm just so tired. There's just so many sales calls. Like, I can't be doing this rate. Well, the faster you go get a sales rep, the faster you can kind of relieve your time, then get another coach, et cetera, whatever. And he wanted to bring down his ads down. I'm like, dude, there's the thing. Once you do that, you're going to hate yourself because it just doesn't perform at the highest level. He goes, and then within 3 days, got a sales rep taking calls, bomb. Sales rep is making sales, got an A+ player. He got another coach. And I go back to, hey, you glad you turned that shit off and you just suffered for a little bit longer. He's like, oh, yeah, thank God, dude. Thank God I turn those ads off. I'm like, there you go. So move your ass.
100%. It's like, instead of slowing down the business as a whole, you essentially just build a higher threshold of pain, right? And that's the thing that's, it's a lesson you're going to continue to learn. I'm continually learning that now. Like, you just got to build a higher threshold of pain, right? And continually build that threshold of pain, which is always things going to be breaking in the business, right? You just got to figure out what is acceptable. And the thing that allows you to continue, which is what allowed us to ride the wave of the product just not being very good in 2023, was new enrollments.
It was still keeping the lights on for a little bit longer.
It was new enrollment. That's what kept the lights on. Right. So losing sight of that because the product is pretty good now. We've been able to like maintain a solid amount of accounts for a long period of time. It's like, no, you can never take your foot off the gas. Right. And there's nothing, I'm trying to think like what problem can you not solve with an abundance of enrollment inside of the business because new cash is coming in, right? The new enrollments allows you to hire people, allows you to bring on more support to fix whatever bleeding is happening. Like that client example, because sales are still coming in, they can essentially be like, hey, I need to bring somebody on for fulfillment, and they can bring somebody on quickly, ramp them up, and keep that train going. Yeah. But it's important. I mean, if you guys who are listening take anything away, is just momentum is hard to build, right? Once you lose it, it requires a concentrated effort to get it going, right? If you slow enrollment, like you got to start creating content even more. You need to spend more. You need to be spending money on ads. You need to be emailing your lists. You need to be calling your leads. Like you got to be doing a lot of sales and marketing activity to get that flywheel turning. And then once it's turning, what you want to have is mechanisms in place to keep those things going, right? Which is why I love paid ads, because once you get it going, it's like, all right, we just need to keep spending money. All right, we just need to keep spending, making sure that we're spending, we keep the sales activities going. And then anything else after the person signs up, like we have the cash coming in to solve.
Yep. It's just with the paid ads, it's just how much struggle are you willing to go through? Because just because you turn on paid ads does not mean, oh yeah, I just got all these sales coming in now. I got paid ads.
Turn on paid ads. What paid ads means is you're guaranteed impressions, right? You're not guaranteed sales. It just means you're guaranteed more people who don't know about your stuff will have an opportunity to see your stuff. What you do with those eyeballs is where the real skill begins. Right?
Exactly.
How do you monetize that exposure in a way that's repeatable and scalable? Right? That's where the skill of business when it comes to acquisition begins. Anyone can turn ads on, right?
Anybody can turn ads. Does not mean it's going to work.
Not everyone can monetize those eyeballs and turn it into something like freaking Hermosi doing over 100 million with his book launch.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So that was a perfect example of the skill of monetizing eyeballs being demonstrated at the highest level. Right. And that skill varies. Like to the degree you can monetize the eyeballs that you're generating with cold traffic is the degree that you're going to make money. Right. So someone who's doing 100 million on a launch like that, they just have a much better skill. They do a much better job monetizing those eyeballs than somebody who's doing $100,000 a year on paid ads. Right. That's all it is. Right. It's the things that you don't see that are happening after the click that really drive the conversions. People try to just copy the funnel. They try to copy the ads, try to copy all those things. But it's what's happening behind the scenes that you don't see.
That's the biggest thing, and why I think we're different on the blue chip side, because even though we have 7-8 accounts, it's very, very high touch point, very one-on-one. And even though everyone follows the same framework, everybody is different. I can't just copy what this person's doing over here. It just doesn't work.
Because the internal mechanics is different, right? Like the internal, like the team is different. The sales cycle is different. The communication that needs to be had with the prospect, with the eyeballs that are coming in is different. There's just so much nuance to it that most people don't take the time to really get intentional about what's happening when somebody clicks on their ad to visit their landing page, and everything that happens from the time they're inside of your business ecosystem to the time they give you their first dollar. They're just thinking, oh, I got this funnel from this mentor, this agency to just copied and paste exactly what they were doing with the other client. It should work for me. That's not how
it works. However,
you might get lucky and it might work, but then when it starts to inevitably break, you have no idea what to fix.
You're completely in the dark.
You have no idea what to think. You're like, man, like what? How many people rode the wave from like 2020 just literally copying our funnel and our mini chat sequence that are like out of business when that's
because we don't do that anymore. Yeah. It's completely obsolete to us. You know what I mean? But yeah, just how you gotta go through it. You're gonna struggle, but once you hit, you put that foot to the gas, bro, and you push and push. There's gonna be breaks in between, quick little adjustment here, bam, bam, fix. But you keep pushing and pushing, because once those numbers hit, in terms of if you have it very predictable, I put this in, I know for sure I'm gonna get this back. Oh, bro, you better go balls all the way through, bro. Like, do not stop. Yeah, exactly.
But hopefully you guys found this helpful. We just want to jump on here, jam a little bit, and share that. I don't know if we have real bandwidth, but if you're interested in learning more about Blue Chip and just kind of hearing about that, Tiki's, where can they hit you up on social?
Yeah, you can hit me up on Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn. You just go to Tiki's Maciel, and then you'll find me. I'm probably the only person.
We'll put your stuff in the show notes so they can hit you up about it.
And I'll be honest, this is not a scarcity tag or anything. There's only one spot, and that one spot might be taken up next week. So it is what it is.
Yeah, depending on when this thing gets published, you might not. We might not.
Oh, you might not even be available anymore. It's just sorry, but we don't
out anyway. But we'll put you on a wait list.
Yeah,
how about that?
We'll put you on a wait list. How about there it is.
Mm-hmm. All right, cool. All right, guys. Till next time, stay calm, change lives, and have business on your terms. Peace.
Adios.